Or they're giving away free drinks on the Lido deck right now. You didn't know? Apple juice. All right, how's everybody doing? All right. Who's here for bingo? All right. Who's here for clue? Who's here for Q&A? Are you serious? All right. Who has no idea why they're here? It's the same people. All right. All right. Look, I got some candy. Not everyone's awake. Don't eat it.
That's the candy alarm.
All right. Welcome to Ship's Live Q&A. If I haven't had the opportunity to meet you yet, you don't mind if I sit down? You okay? All y'all. Well, I don't want to leave anyone out. Let me move that.
Yeah, sometimes the back of your head is the best bit.
Oh, okay. All right, Andy. All right, welcome to Q&A. If we haven't had the opportunity to meet yet, my name is Mikey. I am your cruise director. If we haven't met, we still have time. I have about 100 people left to go. Otherwise, I'm going to stand at the door tomorrow, so you have to meet me. Yes, welcome to Open Forum Ship's Live Q&A. This is a light-hearted Q&A session. You're more than welcome to ask anything you like. There's only a couple of things I'm not allowed to speak about. Number one being safety and security of the ship. Sure you understand. And the other thing is any specifics about what anybody makes, salaries, tips, percentages. That is personal information to people. Just know that we get paid weekly. Very weekly. Just kidding. But otherwise, you're more welcome to ask anything you like. I am an open book. Sometimes I'm a little too honest for my own good. But if you have a question, all you got to do is raise your hand. Andy, this is Andy, your entertainment director. Give it up for Andy.
Hello.
Andy basically takes care of everything that I don't want to do from behind the scenes, which allows me to be out with all of you, by the way. So I think you've done an amazing job this week, Andy. Can we give it up for Andy? Yes. So if you have a question, raise your hand. Andy, bring you the microphone. Tell us your name, where you're from, what the answer, what the question is. If I don't know the answer, I'm just going to make it up. Just kidding. I'll do my best to find out. Yes?
What are your advantages and disadvantages about being a cruise director on any cruise ship?
Oh, what's your name? Where you from?
Jason from Pennsylvania.
Oh, Jason from Pennsylvania. That's crazy. I'm from South Africa. Advantages and disadvantages. I will say that I do get the chance to meet, at least 3,000 people every single week. And I do this is not the sort of job that you can do if you don't enjoy meeting people. Sure, I do enjoy meeting people, I do enjoy talking to different people. And so you also learn a lot that way. It's also quite a cool job in the sense that it's the only job that I can think about that sort of resets itself at the end of each week. So if I say a joke this week that doesn't go over too well, next week nobody knows any different. So I just won't say that joke again. No, it's interesting, and my point being is that it changes from week to week, right? I could say something this week that might get one sort of a response, and next week it might get a whole different response, which is fascinating. You have to sort of cater to the crowd that you're with, right? It's fascinating that way that it's very dynamic. It changes all the time. Yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest disadvantage. One of the things I don't like about this job, I'm being honest, is that, and I think it's the same with any service industry, I have to be okay with the fact that out of 3,200 people, at least one person's not gonna like me. I know, can you imagine? No, but seriously, it's and that, when you get feedback and you get comments and things like that, and certain things I know that I cannot control, but if sometimes someone doesn't like the way I'm direct the cruise or the activities, that I do take that to heart, because paid to be here. You came. If you're not here, I cannot be here. So I want you to have a good time, right? And so sometimes it's impossible to connect with every single person, and I sort of have to be okay with that. Sometimes I'm not, but I'm learning. Yeah, great question. Thank you. Hi.
Hey, I'm Sergeant Major Retired, and this is Mail out of Augusta, Georgia.
Hi.
And I have a great retirement plan.
Okay.
Now, my question to you is, if you serve 25 or 30 years aboard a ship or combined ships, is there a retirement plan in place for you guys?
There is, yes. So you get a retirement package, benefits, things like that as well. Yeah. It kicks in depending on your position, but most positions kick in after 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody got a question? Anybody?
Oh.
Over there. Okay. While I get to you, Mikey, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you on a cruise ship?
Nobody ever asked that.
Yeah, they did. Good.
Okay. I see you want to throw me under the bus today. I was, in fact, I have a couple, but I'll tell you one. I was on the breeze almost 2.5, 3 years ago. It was my first ever taken over as a cruise director. It was a 7-day cruise. And okay, here's the thing. I can stand on the stage in front of 1,000 people and I can be totally comfortable. I have no problem with that. When I go to make PA announcements, I get nervous. And I have a PA panel in my cabin. Like, no one's there. I could be naked for all you know. Right? No. Next time, think about that. Like, bing bong, it's me. So I get no, I don't know why, it's just my thing, I guess. But when I was on the breeze, I was making an announcement. It was the first sea day of a 7-day cruise, and I made an announcement. I was like, ladies and gentlemen, I'm heading upstairs to the libido deck for the hairy chest competition. That was embarrassing. My first announcement ever on the Sunshine, I was helping with the debarkation for the previous cruise director, and I pushed the wrong buttons on the panel, and I woke up all the crew at 6:30 a.m. I know. When you join a ship for the first time, it's like going to school. Like, you don't know anybody, and so you want to sort of be in with the people. And I woke everybody up at 6:30. The only time an announcement goes into the crew cabins at 6:30 is if there's an emergency. Yeah, I was that guy. All right, thank you, Andy. Appreciate that.
So if someone has a service dog, where would they go to the bathroom?
Great question. So we have, what we do is we set up like a litter box. Seriously, it's like a big box. And if they have a service dog, they get access, an access pass. The litter box is in the crew area on deck 4. You know, on the sides where the muster stations are, towards the front. And then they get access to go and use that as much as they like. So yeah, that is available. And if you need it, please take advantage of it. Great question. If the dog needs, not for people. Yes. All right, tell us your name, where you from?
Hi, I'm Tanya from Panama City Beach, Florida.
Hi, Tanya.
Hi, I'm here with about 14 others. And we kind of sit around just wondering about certain things. And we wonder, do you have a girlfriend on ship or off ship?
Next question.
I love you. You're my favorite. I love you.
Oh, you want my social security number too? What is this? Why, are you interested? Girlfriend is a very loaded word. Okay, all right. I do have one. She is not here at the moment, but she is signing on the ship tomorrow, in fact. Yeah. Oh. Thank you. Okay, now that this got 50 shades of awkward. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Carol from Canada.
Hi, Carol.
And I'd like to know which cruise director inspired you to do this job and who trained you?
Good question. I got this job initially straight out of high school, and that was in 2006. My sister was actually the person, she was a cruise director before, or assistant cruise director and then a cruise director. So she was the reason why I started with the company. And then after a couple of years I left. I went back to school. I told my parents that I would, so I did. When I came back, I worked with a cruise director named Mike Pack. Mike Pack is one of my mentors. He was the cruise director who officially promoted me. But I also worked with Matt Mitchum. If you cruise with Matt Mitchum, he's phenomenal. And also Jamie D, who just recently retired as well. So those would be the three. I also, previously when I was with the company, I wasn't planning on becoming a cruise director, but I also worked with Malcolm Byrne, Mr. Woohoo. He's still with the company as well. Yeah. So there's been a few along the way, but I would have to say Mike Pack and Jamie D were the ones who actually got me promoted and that kind of stuff, yeah. Great question, thank you. Hi.
Yeah, hi Mikey. Yeah, I'm Joe W. from Long Island. I just want to know how you stay so upbeat and high energy. I haven't seen any Red Bulls on the ship, so I'm just wondering, how do you do that?
No.
I know the answer to this.
No, he doesn't.
So what he does, he goes out and he buys his own Red Bull, and he has a massive bucket of it, and he just throws 10,000 Skittles in there, and he just downs it all in one. That's what happens. Fact.
You know, okay, I have to say this because I've had 3 people ask me already. I promise I'm not on drugs. Okay. I'm always on the random drug test list. It's not so much random anymore. You know, I do my best to stay away from sugar. As weird as that sounds. I try and eat as healthy as possible. I do exercise at least 6 days a week. You know, and it's for me it's about staying active. I've always been very active. I played a lot of sport growing up and I was always doing something. I enjoy it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's days, just like any job, there's days where you wake up and you're like, it's gonna be a day, you know? But it's, once I get going, you know, a lot of the time I feed off the energy of the crowd as well. I mean, when that adrenaline kicks in, yeah. But yeah, I'm not on drugs, I swear. Great question. Hi.
Hi, I'm Alice from San Diego.
Hi, Alice.
And what's a typical day for a typical employee? And do you guys have to comply with U.S. labor laws and all that, or are you international?
Good question. So the company is based in Miami. However, our ships are registered in the Bahamas. And so there's certain things for the US and certain things for, you know, international, right? One of the benefits of that is that we don't get taxed when we get paid, which is nice. Unless, you know, some countries, I know like crew members from Canada, they have to pay tax once they go home. South Africa doesn't care that much, I don't think. So yeah, that's one of the benefits. So it's a little bit of both to give you a short answer for that. But the typical day, it depends. It depends on your department, it depends on your position. This is a 24-hour thing, so everything runs. So everything is broken up into shifts. Each crew member, by law, has to have at least 6 hours of uninterrupted rest between shifts, right? And then your shifts will be broken up during the day. So on any given sea day, it could be 10 to 12 hours broken up into shifts. And on port days, a little bit less, because there's points where you get off the ship and then, you know, there's less hours that need to happen. But also bear in mind that, you know, there's also people working through the night as well, so your shifts might be overnight when your rest time is during the day. So it just depends on your position, and yeah. That's a great question. Thank you. Yes?
Hello, Mikey. Good afternoon. I've been very fortunate to be with you this cruise and the previous cruise, and unfortunately, it's the last cruise you're going to be having with Chris. And I know you've been with Chris for two and a half years. Just curious, what kind of meeting did the two of you first have? How did you two first meet and get along? Because I'm sure that it's not the same rapport that you currently have with him.
No. So yeah, if you
They hated each other to begin with. Yeah, they're going to attack you.
He's Australian. Oh, hey, Chris. So if you didn't hear, this is Chris's last cruise with us. He's going on vacation after 10 months of a contract. So, yeah. How he's still standing upright is beyond me. But the reason why we say it's sort of the last time that Chris and I will probably have the opportunity to work together, because I can tell you that very shortly he's going to get promoted. Yeah, so it's quite good. Yeah, I mean, you know, when you start out with any host that comes on, like, there sort of has to be a period where it sometimes is awkward because you're trying to figure out how to banter and things like that, you know, and what jokes are appropriate and what's not, and, you know, kind of like that. And so, you know, when Chris and I was fortunate to have Chris, because when I first started with Chris, he was already pretty experienced, right? Like, he was, with the company, 4 or 5 years now? 4.5 years. So when I started working with Chris, it was on the fantasy, and you know, he was already pretty experienced. So it didn't take us long to sort of, but there's always those like awkward things, you know, where you're like, I used to take digs at Australia all the time. Like, Australia and South Africa have a huge sport rivalry, and so it's not their fault that they're like that. I don't walk in front of Chris anymore because he's waiting to push me down the stairs so he can take over. Exactly, look, he's evil. But yeah, Chris and I met on the fantasy a couple of years ago, and it's been a solid, it's difficult when you lose someone like Chris, who, like, when you get on stage with someone like that, you know that if I'm having an off day, someone's able to carry the show as well. So you sort of have to rely on the team, and you know, I think I'm very blessed to have an amazing team that, you know, can sort of carry things if I'm not at my best, right? Thank you. Great question. Hi.
Hi, I'm sure you have team meetings that go on, but could you describe a little bit what the process is to determine the venues for the events that go on the ship?
Yeah, great question. So it would depend on a lot of things. Firstly being, you know, how much we think the event would hold, right? It would vary by ship as well. Are you talking about this ship specifically or in general? In general, right? So it depends on the size of the ship. Like, some ships have a designated karaoke lounge, right? That would hold karaoke. On this ship, we don't have that. So we sort of have to bounce around karaoke, right? To give you an example. So it would depend on a lot of things. We also have groups that come on board and they will like reserve a lounge. So we sort of have to work around them as well. Sometimes we have weddings, we have to work around them. This week, we are fortunate, fortunate and unfortunate, unfortunately. We have a cast changeover, what we call a cast changeover. So we have a new group of playlist performers that are taking over for the shows, and the old performers are leaving in Port Canaveral. So they sort of split the shows this week and they're sort of rehearsing, and so they need to have lounge time to make sure that the shows can get up and running, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into that. It sort of just depends on a few different things. The crowd, from past experience, how popular is a certain event, kind of thing. Yeah, great question, thank you. And that would basically fall between myself and Andy. We sort of discuss and make those decisions accordingly. It's a great question. Andy.
We're behind you. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Hi.
Oh, dear. So, what happens if you would happen to get sick on ship and be able to do your cruise director duties? Who would take over for you that day?
Chris.
Ah, that was easy.
Yes. So yeah, I've been fortunate enough where I haven't gotten sick to the point where I've had to, go down totally. But that's what the fun squad is there for. That's what they're in training to do. So sometimes if I have to dial back a little bit and may have to sort of cover an event, it happens. I have come very close to losing my voice in that event. One of the fun squad will just take over. So at this point in time, like in the next hour, if something had to happen to me, Chris would step in for the rest of the day. And then, going forward, if it was something permanent, they would probably sign me off the ship and bring a cruise director in to cover. A fully promoted cruise director to cover. It's a great question.
Does each crew member have his own cabin?
Great question. So, now there is a myth that somebody said to me last week. They were like, we heard there's like 10 people in a cabin. It's not the case. A majority of crew members will share a cabin. No more than 2 to a cabin, bunk bed style. There's a desk, there's a TV, everyone has their own closet, there's a bathroom. It's cozy. It's very efficient because you can brush your teeth, do your hair, go to the toilet, and get dressed all at the same time. It's very efficient. When you are fortunate enough to move into a management position, you do get your own cabin.
And man, you should see Mikey's cabin. Woo! He has his own butler,
Right.
there's a chocolate fountain, a garage for the second Ferrari that he's purchased, which is outrageous. Water slide.
Stop it. The bed rotates with a disco ball.
Girls fanning you. It's nice.
No, so when you move into a management position, you do get your own cabin. The room itself is not much bigger than anyone else's room, except attached to my cabin is an office. In management position, we have access to desktop computers. This is how our main source of communication is intranet around the ship, right? And that's how we keep everything moving. So I have an office. I also have a meeting space for my team. I have a team of about 15 people that I have to be able to have a meeting with there. So it would seem bigger, but it's not. The actual cabin itself is the same size. Just I have an office with it as well. Great question. Andy, please keep going.
When you go on vacation, Ellen from Pennsylvania.
Hi, Ellen. I love Pennsylvania. I studied at Temple University.
In Philadelphia.
Okay. Yes. Cool.
When you go on vacation, when do you find out where your next position is on what ship?
Oh, great question. Are you talking about me specifically or in general?
In general.
Gotcha. Okay, so each ship will have how it works is each ship has a core management team. That would be myself, Andy, hotel director, captain, chief engineer, bar manager, housekeeping manager. There's about 25 core managers. Core managers will stick with one ship for about 1 to 2 years. So they'll be assigned a ship. Like I know that I'm going to be on this ship until the end of next year, with some breaks in between. Any crew member outside of that management team, halfway through your contract, you will get an evaluation. If everything's good and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, after your evaluation, you will get a list of ships that are available for when you want to come back for your next contract, and you can choose. So if you want to take a month off, you'll say, hey, I'm signing off at the end of November, I'm going to take December off, I'd like to rejoin in January. What ships are available in January for that position? And that's everyone outside of the core management team. The core management team sort of get placed. We don't really get a choice, unfortunately. Does that answer your question?
How do they get when the new ships come out? How do they choose the cruise director to go on the newer ships?
The cruise director on the newer ships, it depends. It goes by ratings. Like you all going to get the chance to rate me after the cruise in your survey. It goes by experience, seniority, if you're capable of doing it. You know, so there's a lot that goes into that decision. Yeah. People make nominations within the company as well, so there's a lot. Yeah. Great question.
We're behind you.
Hi.
Hi. We were on a cruise ship one time, and the cruise director gave the 10 most or the strangest questions
Yes.
that have been asked. And the first one of them was, does the crew live on board? What is the strangest question that you've ever been asked?
Oh, I got a good story for you.
This is good.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm well aware of those questions, right? But I was on. It was on the Fantasy. It was the very first day of the cruise, and I was walking through the lobby atrium area, and this lady was yelling at guest services, like at the top of her voice, like literally, she looked like she was going to kill someone, right? So I walked over, and the guest services manager was just arriving as well, and I said, you know, what was going on, and she said, well, this guest is claiming that she didn't get the cabin that she had booked, right? So I said, what cabin was it? Where is it on the ship? Maybe there's a mix-up. She said she booked an ocean view cabin. It's like, okay, has anybody been to check what cabin she's in? Maybe she just went to the wrong cabin. So guest services manager was like, no, that was the next step. So I said I would go with her. I would talk to her along the way. I would go check out the cabin. So we go down to deck number 2. We go sort of towards the middle of the ship. She shows me where the cabin is. I opened the door. When I opened the door, there was a porthole. Right? Ocean view. And out of the porthole, okay, by the way, you cannot make this stuff up, just letting you know. Out of the porthole, you can see the parking lot. So you see where this went. So I had to gently explain that the ship just didn't move yet. She didn't actually see the ocean. I get it. Like when you go on vacation, like you just sometimes you just don't. You know, it happens to me all the time. I'm just like, but you sort of understand. But that was a great moment in my life.
I like the ones that ask if the elevators go to the forward and to the back of the ship. I'm like, no, this isn't Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm sorry.
Star Trek Enterprise.
Right?
What you got?
Hi, I'm Sarah from Alabama.
I said, oh, I love Alabama. Roll Tide.
My question is, oh, War Eagle.
Sorry.
My question is, what is the average cost of fuel that the ship, that costs the ship each week?
A lot. Andy, do you want to call someone? Chief engineer?
Chief engineer?
Well, I don't know.
He just yells. It's very loud down in
It's
the
very loud in the engine room. Call the staff captain, he'd be able to tell you.
Okay.
All right, hold that question. I'll find out the answer. That's a great question.
Hi, it's me again.
Hi. Oh, we charge for additional questions.
You just put it on my tab. Just curious, if you would like to have a position on a ship, how would you apply?
Great question. So everything is done online now. You can literally go onto the Carnival website. It says careers at Carnival. You can check it out. If it's entertainment specific, carnivalentertainment.com. They have a list of all the positions and the criteria that you need to meet. And you send in an application. Every position will go through an interview process. You also, if the interview goes well, they will also send you for a physical. You have to be declared medically fit to work your position. You'll go through drug tests, you'll go through all kinds of different exams, and then, yeah, you can get hired. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, we can take like 2 more, 3 more. All right, go ahead. I'm coming here.
Question. I'm Jill from Ohio.
Hi, Jill.
But what does your girlfriend do on the ship? And are there when people get married, do they work as a team on the ship?
Oh, great question. All right, let's talk about dating. Here's the thing. When you date someone on a cruise ship, everything moves a lot quicker than it would on land. Right? And the only reason is because if you go on a first date at 5 o'clock, you're going to see them at 6, and then at 7, and then at 8, and then at 9, and then like 3 more times before you go to bed. Right? So everything moves a lot quicker. So when you get to the point that your relationship, you are like ready for the next level, if you are engaged or married, or you feel like you can spend a lot of time together, you can link ID numbers. Now, someone thought I said licking, is linking. Link. You link ID numbers, and then you can able to share a cabin. And then the company, once you link, the company will move you from ship to ship together so that you can stay together, which is really nice. Yes. So yeah, it's quite a cool thing. I mean, you have to try and have as a normal life as possible within within such a hectic work area. So I find it very fortunate to be able to work and live in the same place, because you don't got to drive anywhere, which is cool. But you can share a cabin. It's really cool, actually. Did I answer it all? She works in the kids club. Yeah. Oh, stop it. Go ahead.
I'm single. Just so you know, on fuel for an average 8-day cruise, it's around $135,000 of fuel.
But we burn more in ice cream.
Yeah. I've got a question.
What island was your most favorite?
Oh, what island is my favorite? That's a great question.
Awesome question.
I will say right off the bat, Grand Turk is one of my favorite. And the only reason being is, and maybe some of you will agree, it's a lot of the islands we visit, but that one specifically, I can never, I've been with the company 6 years, I never get over the shades of the water. Like how clear the water is. That's, to me, is phenomenal. Like you can see stuff right from the ship, right? I love San Juan. San Juan is one of my favorites. St. Martin. A lot of people, I know that a lot of ships go to Cozumel, and I've been there well over 300 times, but I love Cozumel. I love Cozumel.
Has anybody been to Alaska? Alaska cruises are awesome.
I'm on the waiting list.
So cool. Literally, it's so cool.
Stop it. Andy got jokes. Did that answer your question? Got it. Andy, we have one here, and then we have one there.
Where?
Over there as well.
There? Who?
That guy.
Okay, I'll pounce on you in a bit.
And one over here. Okay.
Hey, Mikey, Lou from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Oh, I love Myrtle Beach. Is that the place where people drive golf carts around?
Yes, they do.
I love that.
Very crazily.
I'm going to move there.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank you and Carnival Cruise Lines for the wonderful tribute that you gave to the veterans the other day. That was fantastic. Thank you. My question is, have you ever worked a nude cruise, and what is your attire?
Let me jump in on this one.
Today...
No, go on.
No. You go over there with the microphone.
I never get to have any other fun.
Telling people I have a butler and a Ferrari, which is true.
It's a Maserati.
No. Now, there is a nude cruise coming up in January. I, however, will not be here for that. Yeah, I was told that, so originally I was scheduled to be here till just a little bit into February, but I asked if I could, cut it back to just the end of January so I could have some commitments at home. But there is a nude cruise happening, and I was told by a previous cruise director that I was allowed to wear a Speedo around. I was like, ain't nobody want to see that. So yeah, there are
He's
things
very
like
white.
Yes, translucent. We need some sun. Great question. I've never done one, Lou.
So we've been cruising with Carnival for a long time. My first ship was on the Tropical.
Oh, that's old school.
It's old school, yeah. Our big question is, where's Fun Ship Freddy?
Oh, Fun Ship Freddy is retired. Yeah, I know. It was about 4 or 5 years ago now. Yeah, it's been a bit. I know. But I'm telling you, I have a feeling one of these days it's gonna make a return. I'm telling you, one of these days. In fact, I have a really great story about Fun Ship Freddy. There was this lady a couple of years ago. It was on the breeze, in fact, and she was walking down the pier towards me. We were in Grand Cayman. She was walking towards me. Now in Grand Cayman, you have to take tender boats, right? So I was standing greeting people. So what I do is I'd like to take the tender boat over and then greet people and help them get on the tender, right? She was walking up to me like this, and I saw her coming from a mile away. She goes like this. Like this. And I was like, oh man, here we go. She gets up to me and she swings her arm around me and she goes, you know, what happened to the fun old thing? The smokestack Sally. And I was like, you mean Fun Ship Freddy? She's like, yeah, that one. She was, yeah. She made it back on board though.
I have a question for you.
Yes. Hi.
So all of the different outfits, did Carnival give them to you, or are they just your outfits, you just like to change it up each time?
I actually buy those myself from Amazon
That's awesome.
Prime, because it's cheaper and it comes sooner. But yeah, I do get it like a yearly, sort of like an allowance a little bit that would go towards that and some other things. But I do pick my own outfits, yes. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. Okay, before we do anything else, can you do me a favor? Can you please give it up for Andy, your entertainment director? Thank you for what you do, Andy. You're the best. Also, I'm very blessed to work with such an amazing team. Can you please give it up for the Fun Squad as well? Give it up for the Fun Squad. They are so awesome. And then can we give it up for Chris one more time? He's around here. Give it up for Chris. Hey, Chris. Folks. Hey, Chris. Hey, Chris. If you have any questions and I didn't get to you, I'll be hanging out for a few moments if you want to come and say hi or ask any questions. But other than that, folks, have a fantastic day. Chris is about to reveal who killed Mr. Body.